have a marketing dealers or the stockyards.
Insecurity is the biggest handicap of RINL. Is there indication that you can overcome it in next few years?
Yeah, in fact, the raw material side again, we are absolutely now linked. We have, as far as the coal is concerned, we have a very successful and system where we have through long-term contracts. We are taking the linkages with the global leading global producers, and therefore on the coal side we do not have any concerns. We have been working through the long-term contracts. So the long-term contracts we have again for the year 15-16 we have already put in place, and no concern about. And we are also happy that you also know that the overall markets for coal are subdued or they are cooling. So that will give us on the advantage on the cost of raw materials. On the iron ore front, we have already a confirmed linkage available from NMDC for the entire iron ore requirement. We need up to our 7.3 million ton capacity of operation, which 7.3, that is the time when we complete our modernization, because both the blast furnaces will have additional capability. They add about 1 million tons of additional capacity. So 6.3 would go up to 7.3. So till that time, the entire iron ore requirement has been committed. There is a committed this one, written this one from the NMDC. So absolutely linkages are not a worry. And on the price front also, again the overall global markets for iron ore prices are also settling down. So today the prices globally are about $50–55 in that range, and the predictions are they can go down further. So RINL will be the single largest plant which will have the maximum benefit, because those captive users, which will not really impact because they are already enjoying the benefit of a low cost captive ore. Whereas for RINL, which is buying in a market price based linkage, so if the price is cool, we get the maximum impact in terms of the cost reduction. So these are two positive strengths which RINL would enjoy, or advantages as we go forward. We will definitely enjoy in the market. See, the 6.3, if you have to say technically, we will do it in the
first phase of expansion, sir.
Yeah.
Entire first phase of expansion.
The 6.3 expansion. So now once we commission, then there will be a formal program to inaugurate the entire completion of the commissioning. Definitely there will be a program.
Sir, you are struggling to sell the existing products. How you will sell the expansion at 7 million tons?
See, that's what I'm telling, because one is that it takes me back to the fundamentals. Like today in India, the steel consumption is still hovering at 60 kg per man per year. And if you look at the global, this one, per capita is 60 kg. Globally it is about 200. So the potential that exists in India is huge. And there is enough evidence available that a lot of policy initiatives are being taken. So sooner than later, I am sure they will become visible on ground. So that will create additional demand. In fact, for example, let us talk our own state, new state, smart city in Vizag. We will have the natural advantage, being a steel plant located in Vizag, to cater to that incremental demand that will get created in this vicinity. And also talk about the capital construction being discussed at Vijayawada and that place. So huge amount of additional demand will be there in our own state. And we are closest to this, so we will have an advantage in terms of quality. We are the best. And matching the market prices, we will be able to take the most part of the incremental demand that this state itself will create. And within the country, and we are sure that the economic growth, a lot of forecasts are available, gradual pickup in the economic growth, with that more demand pull for the steel. And also again, as I mentioned, that we are looking to global markets, being a coastal place, we will try to increase our global presence also. We are taking those initiatives. So with that, we are sure that with this kind of quality which we produce, and with the recovery in the economic cycle, we are confident that there will not be any difficulty in selling the steel.
China will continue to dump with cheap steel.
See,
So
that-
that will be a major threat.
that see, as a factor it will always remain. But only thing is, we are also hoping, you must have seen in the press that what Steel Minister, Honorable Steel Minister has said recently. So in the immediate run, we expect the government to intervene and give some support. And in a short to medium to long term, I am sure the economic recovery would support additional supply side additions within the country. But in the immediate run, yes, there will definitely some support from the government would help the industry to again recover, and then thereafter medium long term I am confident the things would be different and enough demand will be there for steel in the country.
Sir, after this,
CSR, is there any program of plantation under CSR?
CSR, we have already couple of schemes running. One is that Green Visakha.
out of it, what are the internal resources you have spent there?
See, most of about 80% is internal, 20% is borrowed, long-term capex borrowing.
Now, how much you are paying interest on the 20%?
I think the long-term is around 9%.
8.9.
About 8.9% is the cost of
In
borrowing.
terms of rupees, in crores.
Okay, annualized means 10% and 2,500 will be 250 crores, and if you say 1%, it's something like 200 to around 200 crores.
Still you have reserves out of spending that 80%?
We don't have any cash reserves. Net worth is still good. We are
That is okay, that is,
Yeah.
there is no cash reserve.
No, cash reserves again we will rebuild because there are two things happen. One is that we have invested in the new assets. We have also returned. We must appreciate that RINL is, I think, in the history of PSUs, where they have returned back the capital which the government has given them initially. I don't think any other PSU, to my knowledge, would have done that. So 2,600 crores we have already paid back, and another 350 will give. So both the pressures are off now because that capital redemption also is getting over, and the new assets will become productive. So with all that, we will have more cash resources. We will again build them back starting from 15-16, and thereafter, of course, the
No, again you are planning for 100 crores for expense, the modernization.
yeah.
For that also internal accruals are taking borrow from the bank.
No, there will be little. It will be a mixture of both. Maybe in a 1:1 it should move, because our capex program for the year 15-16 is about 1,400 crores. So 1,400 means about 1:1 means about 700 to 800 would be debt. 700 to 800, that much internal resources any case will be able to generate. So they will go almost in a ratio of 1:1 now onwards. Any future capex.
And one side you are eroded the total reserves there.
We have invested. We have invested. We have not lost. We have invested. Right.
On the other side,
Yeah.
you are spending more amount on the interest. Seriously, you have don't have interest burden. The existing
Yeah.
interest you are 250 crores. This is extra burden, huh?
No, but just see, what happens is, assume if you have invested 12,000 crores through debt funding, or normally companies go up to 2:1 debt funding. So whereas our debt funding is 12,000 mein 2,500 is 20% of the total. So the debt servicing burden for standalone expansion, if you are seeing about 12,000 crores, we have done in a very low debt burden. So when we start producing, our burden of interest, only the depreciation impact will come in the cost, but debt burden would come in a lesser manner than what normally could have happened. That is also an advantage which this company would have when we produce from the new units. So these are all the processes through which we will be able to compete better.
And apart from this, they are proposing that visual diversification of 3 projects. How much you are requiring for these three projects?
See, all of them together, all of them will take 3 years to materialize total completion.
Right.
Aggregate of them may not be like about 2,000 crores. 2,000 crores approximately.
All 2,000 crores.
Yeah, all three together will be 2,000 crores over a span of 3 years.
Span of 3 years.
Over
But
span.
joint venture companies, they can put any investment from this?
Yeah. The other partners also will come in. But 2,000 crores what we have mentioned is our RINL's.
How much you are, how you will mobilize this 2,000 crores?
Again, it will be.
Again debt money.
Yeah, those companies will be standalone companies. Like let us say we are talking about Power Grid JV. It is a JV between Power Grid and RINL. So that will be a company by itself. So promoters will bring 1 rupee or 1:1. They will, in fact, in the power segment, the Power Finance Corporation gives 3:1. They give the debt funding. So there, if it is a project of about 350-400 crores, so only 100 crores will be equity. Out of that, RINL will give 50, PGCL will give 50, 300 crores will take for Power Finance.
So getting money is no problem, sir, because for RIN.
Both.
But how you repay, how you pay the interest, that is the
Yeah. No, this 2,000 crores will be with the JV company's balance sheet.
Right.
So for RINL, yes, what you said will be like modernization, what we spend, 1:1 we have to. But you must appreciate that our debt, this one, even after modernization, let us say 3,000 crores, another 1,000 crores or 1,200, 1,500 crores we take a debt. Total capex debt will still be 4,000 crores against a net worth of about 13,000-14,000 crores for the company, which is very, very manageable. If had it been 2:1, then you could have a worry. Look, in a difficult market, you have a 2:1 debt servicing obligation.
One or two years, that is very difficult to repay this amount now.
There will be generations, no? As we take the units to 100% operation, no? So we get.
This situation, the sluggish market is currently under 1 or 2 years. What is your future?
No, we will still make profits. That's why I said where we save expenditure, I have told some examples, no? Like this will reduce cost. Raw material prices are falling. See, like iron ore, now if the global prices come down, we will also have a bargaining power with NMDs.
Currently, that is 14, 15, are they expect any profit?
Yeah, we will be in black, but it will be, the accounts are getting reviewed by auditors. Because the top line has not grown, so our profits also would not have a positive growth. They will be lower, but we have to see when the accounts get reviewed. But we will be in profits.
Will there be any loss?
No, we will be in profit. That's what I'm saying. We will be in profit only, positive. Yeah, it will be reduced profit, obviously, because the impact of the cyclone, the impact of the sluggish market, we had both the impacts in the same financial year. So even if we had deducted the impact of cyclone, we would have still been healthy in profits.
What about how much reduction in terms of turnover compared to previous year?
Return on investment will be high.
Compared to previous year.
See, in terms of volume, there is about 9 to 10% drop in volume. No? About from against 3 million tons of last year, 2.9 to we have come down to 2.6 million in terms of sales. Am I right? Yes.
In terms of rupees?
In terms of rupees, will be close to 11,800 approximately will be our turnover for this year.
Including exports.
Yeah, total
That is last year, that is 13,000.
some 13,400, 13,000, yeah.
13,000?
400. 400.
Exact figure is that?
13,488.
13,400.
489.
But actually expected at least minimum 15,000 this year expected.
Initial plan was 15,000. At that time, based on the then prevailing market situation, it was all factored in. IPO, again, it is a call to be taken by the government of India because the plan is to divest their stake. So the call has to be taken by the government actually. So that it will depend on the call by the government of India.
This year, how much export you are expecting, sir? Out of 18,000 crores, export how much you are expecting?
Volume wise 2.5 lakh tons. That should translate
Around
about
1,000.
1,000 plus about 1,000 crores. It will be 1,000 crores plus.
During the last fiscal also, the target was around
1,000 crores.
Yeah. No, but we did make record exports in this year.
No, that is
But
different. But
because the prices are lower.
No, that is different, sir. You have expected 1,000 crores last year itself, but you have achieved only 700.
No, but
868.
But one good change or a factor which for our better success probability I am telling is last year when we have planned at a higher market prices which were prevailing. Today when we planned for the next year, we planned at the bottom side of the cycle. So therefore our chances of succeeding and meeting the target are much better in 15-16.
And if you see in India, it has recorded a negative growth of 7%.
The markets, Sri Lanka, all the countries in and around Sri Lanka also now by sending our semis and conversion, so we have made a study, there is a good market available. So yeah, Middle East also because the API grade quality, because once we are stabilizing our SMS2, the rounds which we produce from there have a good demand in Middle East. So these are the new pockets of markets where we will be definitely penetrating into in the year 15-16.
Middle East and which other parts?
Middle East and the countries near Sri Lanka, the bordering countries from near and about Sri Lanka, Myanmar,
Southeast Asian.
Southeast Asian, all the Southeast Asian countries. Yeah, right.
And sir, what is the progress on this railway plant? The library?
Yeah, that the project is on and we are going through the tender and commercial process. Otherwise, the definitive agreements have been
Boundary wall
signed.
is made.
Yeah, already some on the land, position of the land is over. We are doing the boundary wall work, and only for the main package award we are going through the commercial process. Otherwise, all committed final agreements are also signed.
Sir, what will the capital? Cash.
It will take 3 years for completion, sir. Project
Yes,
will take
yes.
3 years to be completed.
Yeah.
Sir, what will the capacity of the slurry pipeline?
Slurry pipeline, direct projects I can ask.
NMDC, and we are trying to. It's for 6 million ton. Again, further view it is to be.
Salem plant here or what is the
Yeah.
status?
Now, forced wheel plant is at Raebareli only. Now, seeing the because we had in between also a lot of discussions, seeing their uptake quantity, what they in between they are having a thought that railways is having thought that they themselves are having the axle much more than the capacity what is required. Because originally they had agreed, so we are still further. They are little at present they are little reluctant, but it is to be seen further.
Sir, what about usage of slag, sir? You have produced a lot of
Okay.
slag. Last 6-7 years you are telling, you mean your steel plant
Yeah.
telling about slag based cement plant.
Yeah, cement plant that proposal is on, and we are exploring the best methodology of implementing. So we are working on it. Of course, though I must say that a definite line we have not yet taken, but that will we are exploring various options, whether JV basis or on equity participation basis. All the modes we are exploring. We will
Are you exporting
Yes.
anything slag company?
not in a
We-
some
we-
merchant exports we have
we
done.
have some merchant
merchant exports we
exports.
have done, not a direct export.
Right.
But we are discussion agreement commitments we get it from that Godavari pumping and also the Yeleshwaram canal. So only worry will be in case they don't have to that RINL is also exploring possibility of going a desalination.